Hi guys, we're on to chapter 4, Lucky Love. Spring has arrived. There is no keeping Tia Lola indoors. She puts on her bright flower dress and her high heels, tacones. She ties her yellow scarf around her neck, buttons up her heavy suéter, and sets out to meet the neighbors. Tia Lola, Juanita and Miguel run after her. Tú no sabes hablar inglés. Someone has to remind their aunt that she doesn't know how to speak English. I speak English, Tia Lola replies, tossing the ends of her scarf over her shoulder, as if to say that is that. She always seems more determined when she wears her yellow scarf. Mi buena suerte, she calls it, her good luck scarf. They stop at the sheep farm next door. Tom is out cutting wood by the barn. Howdy there, neighbors. Is this your aunt you told me about? He asks Juanita. Juanita nods. Her name is Tia Lola. Actually, Tia means aunt. Aunt, so you don't really call her that. How about Lady Lola? Tom suggests. Encantada, Tia Lola says, handing Tom her hand as if they were in the court of Queen Isabella. Not in a stinky barnyard, but the real surprise is how the gruff farmer in his bib overalls and full red beard bows like a knight and kisses Tia Lola's hand. Enchanted as well, he pronounces. Hey, Becky, hun, he calls over his shoulder. Blonde, shy Becky, who can lift a bale as well as any man, comes out from the barn. She is carrying a small, bawling lamb. Ay, que cosita tan mona, Tia Lola explains. What a cute little thing. Soon she has tied her yellow scarf around the lamb's neck. She is pretty, isn't she? Becky smiles fondly at the lamb in Tia Lola's arms, but she'll slobber all over your scarf if you don't take it off. Mi buena suerte, Tia Lola explains, her good luck scarf. I've got a good luck charm too, Becky says, except it isn't a scarf, but my 4-H bandana. Miguel has never heard Becky say this many words in the 4 months they have known her. All traces of shyness are gone as she chats along in English. Tia Lola nods and chats right back in Spanish. The two women aren't speaking the same language, and yet they seem to understand each other perfectly. Maybe her scarf is lucky. Maybe Tia Lola can work magic. After the visit to the sheep farm, Miguel and Juanita and Tia Lola continue down the road. All around them the fields are the pale green haze of new growth. The sky above them is a rich blue. If Papi were along, he would be pointing left and right. What color is that? Green hills pale, violet buds, and tumble of titanium white clouds in the blue sky. Tia Lola smiles at the weather vanes pointing south. She whistles as she swallows darting in and out of the barns. She waves at the farm woman cleaning out her garden, who waves back with her rake. In town, they stop at Rudy's restaurant. Hola, Tia Lola greets everyone as she walks in the door. Farmers in work clothes and professors from the college grading papers and teenagers with purple hair grin at the friendly woman. Little babies sitting in high chairs reach out their hands, motioning for Tia Lola to carry them. Only one customer, a sour-looking old man in a uniform, sitting at a corner table, glowers at Tia Lola as if her friendliness were a public disturbance. Rudy comes out of the kitchen, shaking his head. He looks weary and his smile is brief. I've been having a heck of a day, he confesses, nodding over his shoulders at the scowling man in the corner. It seems the old man has ordered huevos rancheros, but keeps sending them back to the kitchen. Rudy has counted 3 returned orders. He says they're not real huevos rancheros, that Colonel Carblias is a royal pain in the ass. How do you say this in Spanish? Rudy asks Tia Lola, slapping his backside. Miguel begins to translate, but Tia Lola has already understood. Ese es el fideíto, she says, slapping her own. As for huevos rancheros, she has a special recipe that can turn the scowl on this viejo's face into a boyish smile. Nothing sort of magic is going to turn that old sourpuss around, Rudy grumbles as he heads back to the kitchen with Tia Lola to give huevos rancheros a fourth try. Miguel sits at the counter observing the old man. The name sounds familiar. Isn't that the name of the owner of their farmhouse? The realtor said. Colonel Charles Boyes had retired from the army years ago and moved back to the farm country where generations of his family have lived. But he had finally decided to rent out the old homestead and buy a place in town because of his bad arthritis. From their neighbor, Miguel had heard that Colonel Charles Boyes has turned into something of an oddball living all by himself. He insists on wearing his full dress uniform and marching down the street as if he were inspecting the troops back in World War II. The doors from the kitchen swing open, Tia Lola bearing a plate of eggs covered with tomato sauce, onions, and peppers, and followed by a worried-looking Ruby head for the corner table. Buen provecho, Tia Lola says, setting the plate down in front of the old man. The old man nods as if he understands that Tia Lola has just wished him a happy meal. Then he puts a forkful in his mouth. It seems the whole room is holding its breath. These are the best darned huevos rancheros I've had north or south of the Rio Grande, the old man growls. When the colonel has wiped the plate clean, Tia Lola asks him, ¿Quieres más? What that means, do you want more? Miguel calls from his perch on the stool. Of course that's what it means, Colonel Charles Boyes barks. I didn't travel all over the face of creation with the United States Army for nothing. And of course I want more. Por favor, he adds, smiling at Tia Lola. Rudy is shaking his head as he follows Tia Lola back into the kitchen. Magic, pure magic, he mutters. By the time they get home that afternoon, Tia Lola has made a dozen new friends. Miguel is astonished. He is not shy, but still, 4 months in living in Vermont, he has only made 2 friends, Sam and Dean. Many of his classmates are friendly, but he can't really call them friends. Sometimes he sits with them in the lunchroom, but after exchanging complaints about how much homework Mrs. Prudy has given them or talking about the upcoming baseball tryouts, he doesn't know what else to say. At least some of them have stopped calling him Gooseman or making duck sounds when he walks down the hall. There is only one conclusion that Miguel can come to. Rudy is right. His aunt is working magic on everybody. Miguel has never forgotten his mother's remark that Tia Lola is something of a santuaria. What exactly does a santuaria do? He asked his mother that night. Santuarias practice a religious called santeria, his mother explained. That explains a lot, Mommy. Miguel crosses his arms. Okay, just tell me, can Tia Lola help me get an A in my math exam? Can she help me make the team? His mother laughs and puts her arms around him. Miguel, amor, your mother can tell you how to do that. She pats his butt. Apply your fundillo to the seat of your chair and you'll get an A if you study hard. As for making the team, eat more of Tia Lola's cooking. I've asked Tia Lola to make you some good Dominican food. Pizzas and Pringles are not the most nutritious meals for a budding major leaguer. Very funny, Miguel growls. Sometimes he feels as cranky as old Colonel Charles Boyes when his mother teases him too much. The next day in school, Miguel opens his lunchbox and finds 4 meatball-looking things wrapped in tin foil next to his can of Pringles. He is about to toss them out when Mort says, "What you got there, Guzman?" Mort is a farm boy in Miguel's class who has muscles where the rest of the boys can only imagine them. My name means death in French, he likes to brag, pounding his chest as if he were Tarzan. His family came to Vermont from Canada in the 19th century, before the skiers and vacationers and college students arrived. He likes to brag about that too, but Morton doesn't get very good grades, and some of the town boys make fun of his home made haircut and clothes from the second hand. Meatballs, yum, my favorite. Mort pops one of Tia Lola's treats into his mouth. Miguel expects Mort to spit it up or keel over dead. Instead, Mort helps himself to another. Don't mind if I do, he laughs. Hey, these are delicious. That afternoon, it might be a coincidence, but it certainly is a first. Mort spells Mississippi correctly during the spelling bee. There is one treat left in Miguel's lunchbox. On the way to baseball practice, he pops it into his mouth. Miguel thinks of asking his mom about the strange treat, but it is Tia Lola who always fixes their lunches. Tia Lola, he begins, showing her the crumpled up tinfoil. But before he can ask about the magic treat, Tia Lola is hugging and kissing him. She is so pleased he liked her cuipas. They are made of grain and ground meat and a dash of pepper, and they will put muscles on your arms. Miguel doesn't care what they're called. Are they magic? I have to make the team, Tia Lola, he added. Tia Lola nods. Yo sé. Of course she knows. She is a santeria. Miguel reminds himself. She works magic. At lunch the next day, Miguel finds a half dozen chewy fritters in a plastic container. Mort had 4 and Miguel 2. Tia Lola says the chewy treats are called empanaditas de queso, and they are made of cheese and dough fried in peanut oil. The following morning, Mort reports a piece of luck to Miguel. His pop just found out he'd won $500 on his weekly lottery ticket. Since Mort helped pick out the winning numbers, his father is going to buy him his very own heifer to show at the county fair that August. Awesome, Miguel says, trying to make his voice sound as if he thinks it's an exciting purchase. Meanwhile, his own lucky surprise arrives in the mail. A Sammy Sosa Louisville slugger his father has sent up from New York for good luck in the upcoming tryouts. Every day when he wakes up, Miguel takes imaginary swings at an imaginary ball with his new bat. He flexes his arms, but the muscles are still pretty stiff. Still, he definitely feels stronger. Tia Lola's special magic rations in his lunchbox are working. He asks her about the jars she brought from the island. She explains that they are potions made from yerba buena and guayaba and llama de huevos to put on sores and cuts. Magic potions? He wants to know. She smiles and pushes the hair back from his eyes. Todo es mágico si se hace con amor, Miguel. That is so too corny for words. In English or Spanish, everything is magic if made with love. Oh, please, and por favor. But of course, it is just like the Santaria to be secretive, Miguel thinks. He winks back, pretending to go along with Tia Lola. After all, in this country, she can probably be arrested for work in magic, so her nephew can make the local baseball team. That night on the phone, Miguel confesses to his father that Tia Lola is putting magic food in his lunchbox to help him make the team. It means a lot to you to make that team, doesn't it, Tiguerito? His father observes. It does mean a lot. After all, his only 2 friends are already on the team. Ay, Miguel, come on. You're a shoo-in, Sam keeps saying to him. Dean agrees. Yeah, you're Dominican. I mean, baseball's like natural for you. When Miguel tells his father that Dean has said, his father gets annoyed. You'll make the team because you've been practicing hard. That's why. Papi often says that the worst thing you can do to people is make assumptions about them. Stereotyping, he calls it. Perhaps Miguel, is making assumptions about Tia Lola. Maybe she isn't working magic on him after all. She tells him the name of everything she cooks and exactly what she puts in it. Besides, she also fixes the same thing in Juanita's lunchbox, and Miguel hasn't noticed any improvements in his little sister's department. What Miguel doesn't tell his father is that Tia Lola isn't the only one who's trying to work a little magic. Often, when he is driving to town with Mommy to get groceries or do some Saturday errands, Miguel will think of himself. If the traffic light changes to green before we reach the corner, I'll make the team. Sometimes just before they reach the corner, the light changes to green. Miguel feels a rush of relief and joy, but just as many times, the light is still red. Scowling and thinking, the very next light, not this one. He worries that he is letting himself get too jumpy and superstitious, but he keeps hoping his wishes will come true. If the phone rings in the next minute, I'll get an A on my math exam. If we pass 7 red cars before we get home, I'll make a lot of new friends. If I see a falling star, a double rainbow, a unicorn, a space alien, his wish requires higher and higher stakes. My parents will get back together again. The weekend of the tryouts, the most magical thing does happen. His father comes up from New York to give Miguel moral support. Kind of like Tia Lola's magic, his father explains. Saturday morning, they all drive over to the school playgrounds. Papi and Mommy and Juanita and Tia Lola, just like a real family. The field is already full of players who made the team last year. Miguel spots Dean on the outfield and Sam manning first base. Rudy in gray sweatpants and sporting a Red Sox cap is calling instructions to the rookies who have come to try out. Miguel joins the lineup of boys waiting to bat. Suddenly he wishes stereotypes were true and he could automatically make the team because his parents come from the Dominican Republic. He glances over at the bleachers where his family is sitting, and one of his superstitious wishing thoughts pop into his head. If Tia Lola gives me a sign, I'll make the team. He closes his eyes tight, shutting out such silly thoughts. This is no time to spook himself with superstitions. Miguel Guzman, he tells himself, you're going to make this team because you've practiced hard and you deserve to win. At that moment, just as he opens his eyes, Tia Lola waves her yellow scarf. He swings and the ball goes flying up, high and far, all the power of her Dominican cooking behind it, and all the magic of her love behind that. All right, guys, that's the end of chapter 4.